Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Rising Stories, the podcast that shines a spotlight on business owners and authors who are working hard at living out their dreams and goals. Thanks so much for listening. Please take a moment and give me a review over on iTunes. By doing this, you will help others find this podcast. Also, if you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Corine Sandifer, I'll be having some great giveaways soon, so make sure you are following me and have also signed up for my monthly newsletter. You can find all the links to these things and all the show notes for each show at CorineSandifer.com. My guest today is Renee Law. She is a foster mom who started a nonprofit organization called Rebuild in her town in West Virginia. Renee and her team meet the needs of those who are the least reached in her city. She is loving and reaching these people that have been forgotten. I would love for you to listen as she shares her journey with us today. Here's my conversation with Renee.
It's called Rebuild, and we're located in Huntington, West Virginia, and we're right now an outreach center to kind of the people, the marginalized in our city.
Okay. Now, tell people what the word marginalized means, because that's a new word for me. I've not heard that. Is it sort of kind of sectioning certain people that are maybe just on low income?
Well, I think of it as kind of like the least reached. You know, the people who people may not want to get real close to or be involved with because it's kind of a messy way of ministry.
And where do you guys go to do this? Do y'all have a house?
We actually have 4 buildings that were donated to us just 2 years ago, and so we are in the process. They're all they're not condemned, but they're all boarded up buildings right now, and so we actually have one that has one apartment that's been finished, and then the building that we work out of is just an abandoned, boarded up building that we're in the process of trying to renovate.
Oh, wow.
We do everything out of that in the front yard, or around. We have big cookouts that we invite the community to, and we do all of that out front, and we do a few things inside the building.
So I'm imagining when you do things outside, you don't do them? I mean, I've not been to West Virginia except to ski, which is I've been to snowshoe, but that's about as much as I've seen West Virginia.
Yes.
I'm sure it's not anything like the ski lodge I stayed at. But tell me, what is it hot there? Like, you guys get really hot? Does it get hot during the summer?
Yeah, we're in like a heat wave right now.
Okay.
So the heat index was supposed to be like 105 yesterday.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it's hot. We had a big outreach. We had a group that came in middle of June, and it was like the hottest day in history.
Oh, man.
But yeah, it's hot outside.
I bet. Yeah. So you do your cookouts, when it's not hot and smoldering, but you tell me some of the other programs that you do for Rebuild.
Okay, we do large. I've noticed it's funny. We didn't intend to set it up this way when we started, but this is what's turned into. We're very much relationship focused in the fact that we want to build relationships with people in the neighborhood and the community. So we started by having large cookouts. Mm-hmm. So we meet people. You feed them, you give them a hot dog, hamburger, and we feed them. Excuse me. But then that gives us a chance to let them get to know us. Mm-hmm. So we kind of start building a relationship then. So you have a big gathering. Then we can say, hey, we have a Bible study on Monday. We have a women's activity on Tuesday. We have, this other women's activity on Thursday and kids thing on Tuesday. So you invite them to a smaller activity. So then you can continue to build the relationship you connect on a deeper level.
Yeah.
And so once you get them from the big gathering to the weekly activities, and that allows for more one-on-one, which is the ultimate goal, was to be able to, sit down with people one-on-one and say, okay, what's your story? How did you get here? what can we do to help you type thing.
So once you get them into a smaller group, you're building relationships just basically from the ground up and just being very intentional on getting to know them and finding out their needs and helping meet those needs. What are some of the needs that they have, like that are very basic that you and I would probably take for granted?
Furniture, clothing. We have in one of the houses, we have just a bunch of furniture stored up because people have been in the community have been very generous in donating things. So we have all of this furniture stored up, which is great because people live in the city mission and they get their own place to live and they have nothing. So they leave the mission, get this apartment, and it may be a small apartment. It may just be a little, one bedroom, maybe not even have this little efficiency apartment, but they have nothing to put in it.
Yeah.
So we've taken furniture to apartments before that have absolutely nothing inside of them. I mean, they don't have a mattress to sleep on. So you have a trash bag full of clothes that you use as a pillow because you don't have anything to sit on or sleep on. Or, my house, I have a way too much furniture in my house. So it's hard to even imagine not having anything.
Not having anything. Yeah. Wow. And just going with, like you said, a trash bag of clothes.
What you're,
place to place.
Either what you arrive in town with or what you're, when you leave the mission for this apartment, whatever you leave the mission with, and that's all you have.
And do you have a team of workers? How many people do you have that volunteer, like that are permanent volunteers, not necessarily those that come in from out of town?
We have 5 of us, six of us who work on a regular basis.
Okay.
Who are there day in and day out, for the different daily and weekly activities.
And tell me about, you started, how long did you start this nonprofit? It's been going for how long? How many years?
Oh, we had our first cookout 2 years ago, Memorial Day. This past Memorial Day was 2 years ago that we had the first one.
Okay, so it's young.
Very young, May of 14. We actually finished all of the paperwork and got finalized just in September of 15.
15, okay. Tell me, what has surprised you about running this ministry?
Well, you don't ever get away from it.
Yeah.
You don't, we went on vacation. We just got home yesterday or day before yesterday from vacation. And so that was like the first time that and even then you just never leave. You have your phones, you have Facebook, you have Messenger, you can get in touch with people all the time and people can get in touch with you.
Right.
But you don't get away from it very much. And it's hard because you're pouring out everything that you have into people. And so it gets exhausting sometimes.
I bet you just, I assume that you're giving so much, and it sounds like you're giving physically, because you're doing cookouts, you're moving furniture, you're redoing some buildings, but then you're also being challenged and drained emotionally and spiritually. How do you recharge?
Well, that's what I'm working on learning to do.
Yeah.
Charging.
Yeah. Or just rest and regroup. Yeah.
My husband and I talked on the way home from vacation. I said, we have to find a way to rest, because if we don't rest and take care of ourselves, take care of our marriage, then we have nothing to give anybody else. And so you do, because he works, full-time job, and we have a 3-year-old at home and adult children and all of that. So if you don't take time to recharge and put a little bit of time and energy into yourself, you just can't keep going. So I try and make sure that I stay in the Word a lot and pray a lot, because if I'm not down there, if I'm not working in God's strength, then I'm just doing it in myself. And when I do it myself is when you really get exhausted and ran down and tired and worn out.
Yeah, yeah. So, don't you love those, when you mentioned that you and your husband were talking on the way back, don't you love those car conversations that you have? I just remember we used to travel for a living years ago, and we would just dream and talk about
Mhm.
all this stuff. Were y'all alone, or you didn't have a 3-year-old?
We had the 3-year-old and our 18-year-old and her friend.
Oh,
So,
okay. So you weren't alone.
nah, not alone.
Well, we used to travel, but our daughter was little at the time. And so as soon as she fell asleep, we would just like start talking and like make plans and talk about, what we were doing and where we were going. And I just
Mhm.
love car conversations. And now I have great car conversations with my son as I'm driving him to school, if he's not too tired in the morning. But I love just kind of that divided time uh, it's just like a great time to just let it all hang out
Right.
and really tell it like it is. So how do you how does Renee recharge? Like, for example, I recharge. I was thinking about this today because I've had a few tough days and just kind of coming back from big events that I've had in July and trying to just push towards the beginning of school or whatever. And I thought, well, gosh, what do I do to recharge? It's like sometimes I love to just kind of get lost in like an antique mall or like a thrift store. That's like one of my favorite things to do. Well, how do you recharge? Just you personally.
Well, my ideal way would be to sit in the quiet somewhere and like just read a book and not
Mm-hmm.
have to think about things. So I like to do that. I like to wander around the mall.
Yeah.
And I have to be really, really careful though, because wandering around the mall turns into buying and shopping.
Yeah.
And I need to not do that. But that is like the most relaxing thing I could do is just kind of wander around.
Yeah. Do you just like kind of window shop and look at people and just,
Yes,
yeah, look at all the pretty things is what
that's
I think about. I think, oh, especially like those furniture plate like Pottery Barn. I
mhm.
just love to walk in there and look around and yeah. That
Yes.
sounds really relaxing to me too. Yeah. But yeah, it's dangerous because when you go and you're like thinking, I'm not buying anything, I don't have any money to spend, I don't have anything in the budget, and that's exactly when you find all the great deals and all the wonderful clothes that are all in your size. you know.
Yep. And they're on sale. It's on clearance. So
I
it's so
know.
thing. So no, I try and be
Yeah.
gotta be. I'm trying to be more careful with that. So
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me a day in the life of Renee Law. Tell me what you do. What does it take to run a nonprofit? What does that look like from day to day? Tell me a day in the life of Renee as I'm sure it looks different every day, but just pick
it
one.
does. It does. Like today, I'm at home, and we don't have anything going on until we meet to pray at 5:15 at the building. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm at home. I may have to be somewhere at 4. So today is a day where I get to be at home all day.
Mm-hmm.
So that's nice. Tomorrow, which is good on Wednesdays because Thursdays are just a busy, busy day down there. So tomorrow looks totally different. We have 2 different activities on Thursdays. So get up in the morning, and we usually, one of the girls and I from Rebuild go and have coffee on Thursday mornings.
Mm-hmm.
Then we leave there, and I pick up a couple ladies who don't live near the property, and we get down there about 11, and we get set up for lunch. Excuse me. And we have a lunch at noon for the ladies called Kickback and Chat. And so we sit around. We actually just started doing the conversation cards from If. And
Yes.
I bought the deck of those, and we've done those the past 2 weeks. And so that's what we do at lunchtime, and then we eat. Well, now that it's summertime, the kids are all there. And we set up the summer kids reading program and everything for the kids to be able to do different activities. We brought in a fireman and a policeman and all this stuff. And in my head, I had exactly how it was supposed to look. It was supposed to be so neat and organized and clean, and just not how it looks like.
With the firemen come in? Are you
Yeah.
saying what happened?
Girl, just all of it. Like every week, I had in my mind how
Yeah.
organized it was supposed to be. That
Mhm.
the women were going to have this nice, quiet, peaceful lunch where we could sit and talk,
Mhm.
and the kids would all be inside with the reading program and their
Mhm.
special activity of the week, whatever it was. And it was they were all going to stay inside, and we were all going to stay outside, and it was just going to be perfect. And that's not how it happens. The kids run back and forth, and we normally have I would guess anywhere from like 6 to 8 ladies and anywhere from 15 to 20 kids.
Oh wow.
So it's total chaos. And every week I have to keep reminding myself it's okay that it's chaos. It's okay that it's chaos. So that's what we do. We have lunch and then the kids do their thing. And then we normally sit there we have a front porch and we sit there and hang out um, all day, like for the rest of the afternoon. And
Mhm.
we have a lot of Bible talks. We'll sit and really talk about different scriptures, and people kind of come and go. There's some apartments behind us, so some of the ladies from the apartments will just sit there and hang out in the afternoon. Um,
I love that. That sounds great.
it's really cool. We just kind of sit there. We may not say anything. We may just um, 2 weeks ago, we just sat there and it was pouring rain, and we just sat there. A couple of us sat reading our Bibles. So it looks that part looks different each week.
Mhm.
And then at 6 o'clock on Thursdays, we have something called Refit, which is a Zumba. And I guess it's nationwide. I don't know how big it is, but it's all over. But
Mhm.
so we have a refit instructor who comes in and teaches a Zumba class every Thursday. So we're usually there on Thursdays from 12 till about 8. Well,
Oh
11.
wow.
Yeah. And so the kids are running all over. And there was a couple weeks ago, it was just like total chaos. And it just
Mm.
was hard. So anyway, that's one of the longer days there. But
But you
every
know,
day is different.
yeah, but you know, it's funny because I bet one of these kids, they're going to grow up and remember just the fun that they had, running around. And it's such a ministry to them to have a place, a safe place to be in a fun environment with people like you who are giving and stable and, loving and, you're touching all of the needs that people need just to feel wanted and needed and a place to be and food and shelter. And so I think that in itself is a great, ministry right there, even if it's chaotic.
That's what I was talking to my 18-year-old the other day, and there's a little boy that comes some, and he's headed into middle school. And so it's like, you get into middle school, and kids have, you're going to go one of two ways once you get
Yes.
out. And, what do we need to do, or how can we help to make sure he stays on the right path? You
Hmm.
know, and how much can we love him in different ways that we can just show him love so that he remembers that and wants to stay focused on the right things.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. So I think that your ministry, it's interesting is it probably goes deeper than just the surface stuff. And of course you probably know this, just, you never know what the harvest will bring. Some people might, I'm like you, I want it all to be organized. Like, can we please just have a little bit of order? Just like, because to me, that's when the magic happens and the good stuff happens. But in reality, it's the time, like you were saying, sitting in the rain and just reading your Bible, or not even talking and just sitting with someone may mean the world to them, which is, very interesting to me. Just, you never know what's going to affect them. And
We did, my husband and I did an article or an interview with a lady from the newspaper yesterday who had gotten our names from somewhere. And, she was asking, I can't remember if it was success rate or have you seen success or anything. And I was like, well, I mean, that's not up to us, first of all, to determine. That's up to God. And success is measured in a multitude of ways. And this is not just an easy quick process. That was what the point I was going to say. Is this? I told her, I said, this is a long process. This is not. You may not see any fruit for years and years and years,
mm-hmm.
but this is a long process, and you just start with little steps. start with baby
Absolutely.
steps, and it's just one foot right in front of the other.
Yeah, and that's all you can do. And you may know some success stories and then you may not, and but it's because it's all in people's hearts and minds and their experiences when they are there and when they go off and leave, they'll be like, I remember, this time when I was running around here as a little
Mm-hmm.
kid. So I think that's great. That's amazing. So tell me, on the business end of it, how is it hard running a nonprofit?
Yeah, my husband should be here for this.
It's hard to get. Yeah, so he's the one that kind of got it together.
Well, he does, and he did. We started work when we started doing the paperwork for the like the 501c3 paperwork. We went out to dinner one night because he was like that was the only way. We went to not to dinner, to Panera. We went and had coffee and
Hmm.
Danishes, and so I went and I was taking like pictures of him while he's sitting there talking to me, and I'm taking these snapshots of him talking, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm sending it to a friend." He was like, "I need you to focus on." So I'm the dreamer and he's the practical one.
Okay.
So he has to like force me into that mode.
Yeah,
Like
that's a
I
great
have to
combination, though.
force him into dream mode sometimes too,
Hmm.
because he gets practical. So he has to like force me into that part. But
Into that, yeah.
yeah, it's so funny because you think all you want to do is go feed people. You just want to do this. You don't think about the business aspect
Right.
of it, and or even just like city permits, just to work on the buildings and business license and just
Mm,
all this stuff. And I'm thinking, I just wanted to go feed people. I
yeah.
just want to sit on the front porch and hang out and live in the community. I mean, what,
Yeah.
what are all these? What are all these permits you're talking about?
So he did all that for y'all, and now you're set up as a nonprofit, which is great and very valuable. So that people, when if they want to donate money to your organization, they can and get their um, income. They're tax exempt, which is
Right.
great. And you could, there's probably other ways to benefits. Is what I'm saying. More benefits where you can get grants and different loans or whatever by
Right.
being a nonprofit. And so that's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. And so your husband does most of that.
Well, I helped with the paperwork, but my goodness, it's like 30 some pages. And
Yeah.
I was like, you want me to sit here this whole time and do this?
It's a big, long, tedious thing.
No,
Yeah.
it
I've
is, but
I've talked with people who are in the midst of it and they're like, oh my gosh, if I'd have known. But it's so worth it on the other end. So tell me I know that you and I are on Facebook, and tell me
mhm.
what's your favorite app that you use that you love?
Well, my favorite app, Facebook, of course,
Yeah, yeah.
because of the way it connects you with people. You
Right.
can put things out there so much quicker. We use a Facebook, our group for Rebuild more than we use the website. Like I think I've been on the website just a couple of times, and we do have.
Really?
I use the Facebook group or the page because it gets things out there to people so quick.
Exactly.
We have a need of, I don't know, somebody needs a bed or something. Hey, anybody local have a bed? And you get something.
So
We're
you have people that are that's your group, that's your community of helpers are on the Facebook page, or
it, everybody's on the page.
everybody's on the page. So
Yes.
somebody could say or message you and say, "Hey, I need a bed," and then you kind of put it out there, and then you may get it right away.
Oh yeah,
Awesome.
we've
That's
done
a
that.
great way to use it. Yeah.
Very helpful.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So yeah, so you'd use that. I've heard more and more that people are using Facebook, their pages and their for business in their groups more than using their websites, like you were saying, because it is instant. It is so user friendly. People are already on there. There's an app. There's just so many benefits to that.
Right.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, tell me more about you and so you're a mom. How many kids do you have?
I have three. I have
Okay.
a 25-year-old daughter, a 22-year-old son, and an 18-year-old daughter.
Okay.
I have a son-in-law and a daughter-in-law, and then we have 2 foster children, a 14-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Oh, wow. So you're a busy mom as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even just being a foster parent is a full-time job right there. And then some on top of running a ministry.
We just got back from, like I said, from vacation, and we took the 3-year-old. The 14-year-old was on a missions trip with her youth group,
Uh-huh.
and we took the 3-year-old, and I was petrified of taking her because I have not taken a 3-year-old to the beach in, 15 years.
Yeah. How'd it go?
Great. She was perfect. We only had one
Oh,
meltdown,
good.
and it wasn't in public. It was in the condo, so
Mm-hmm.
that was good. She loved the beach. She loved the sand,
Aw.
and she loved the pool. The day we first got there, we took her down to the beach, and as soon as the ocean hit her toes, she kind of ran the other way and got out of it. And then by the last day we were there, she went and sat in the water, and so yeah, she
Aw. So she
traveled great, and
really.
yeah, it was good.
Wow.
Of
That's
course,
awesome.
we were all there, so I had, our all of our the big kids were all there to help too, so that helped a lot. And she loves them, so they could,
Aw.
stuff with.
Yeah. I'm telling you, yeah, it could go either way with a 3-year-old. I remember we had when our first born, when we were traveling, we stopped at a beach, and it was the first time she had been on sand at the
Mm-hmm.
beach. And so we were like, we didn't think anything about it because we're used to it, blah, blah, blah. And so we took our picnic lunch, and, my husband went off running, and I was on the towel, and we sat her down we were carrying her 'cause she didn't have flip-flops, and we sat her down on the sand, and she fell and touched the sand with her hands and just totally like freaked out, like, what is this beneath me? And just went ballistic. And we were like, what? And then we took her to the ocean and cleaned her off. And then we thought, well, it's sand, we were trying to acclimate her to it. Nope. She didn't want to have anything to do with sand. She sat on her blanket. That was the only way we could calm her down. She sat on the blanket. She didn't want anything to do with that sand.
Right.
It was hilarious. It was funny. Now it's funny now, but at the time we were like, oh my gosh, we can't go to the beach for a long time. So we did it until she got older. And so
Yeah.
she hated it. So anyway, crazy. So what are you reading these days? You said you love to read and you go.
I do. I just finished, like the day we got to the beach, I just finished A Mile Wide, which is Brandon Hatmaker's book coming out in September. I just finished it.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes out, you need to buy it. It is good.
Yes, I've heard. I have it actually. I'm on their launch team, and so I haven't finished it. But I was telling you earlier before we started is that I'm one that's like I just want to savor. I love to just savor. So I'm hoping to go to the beach again, and would love to take that and just finish it off and enjoy it. So it's a good read.
It was very good read. And right now I'm reading, and I just started, I think I'm about halfway through Captivating by John and Stacey Eldridge. And a friend gave it to me, I don't know, a few months ago, probably back in May, I guess. And I just picked it up, and it has just been very thought-provoking, very, very interesting.
And isn't that the complementary, or no, that's not the right word, but the companion to Wild at Heart? Is that right?
Yes.
So the Wild at Heart is for the men,
yes.
and Captivating is for the women.
Yes.
Okay. Although you can read both because they're both really, really good. But yeah.
There have been a couple parts where he quotes part of Wild at Heart in the book, and just heavy. I mean, it's like deep stuff. It's not an easy read, but it's very good. It's been very enlightening,
life-changing. Yeah, really good. Oh, good. Yeah, I'll have to look that up again and reread that. I remember reading it, and I just don't remember much about it, but I do remember that it was a companion to Wild at Heart. So tell me what 3 things are just like rocking Renee's world these days. What are you loving?
Loving. Let me see. Oh, I should have. I'm loving Old Navy.
Yeah.
That's my daughter's, and that's been our store this summer.
Because you're
So
like a fashionista.
I'm
You
trying.
love clothes and stuff, and I love seeing you in clothes
Well, I'm working on that.
and what you put together.
Well, I'm trying to. I'm working on it because I do too. I fool too much with it, so I'm trying to like ease up. Yeah. So Old Navy.
Old Navy. Okay.
My husband is like, "How many trips have you made there this summer?" I'm like, "Dang, I'm going to do better. I promise." Um, and I'm also loving lattes right now. I am just learning to drink coffee.
Oh, really? You hadn't been a coffee drinker?
Oh no, no, I'm not. I'm a Diet Pepsi drinker.
See, I'm not a
Uh,
coffee drinker.
but
So what
um,
turned you onto
uh,
coffee?
I like coffee mugs. I think they're really cute, and they
Yeah.
look cuter when you hold a coffee mug than a Diet Pepsi bottle.
That is so true. They're like if you took in, see, here's the thing is I believe that there's a discrimination against non-coffee drinkers. Like if you took in a Starbucks cup into church, no one would say a word. But because I drink sweet tea and I get it from Sonic, if I brought in that big thing, they would just look at me like, wait a minute, you cannot bring that in here.
No.
It's like discrimination. So like sometimes I will get a cup from church and pour like, on those and pour my tea in there so I can have my tea because that's
Yeah.
acceptable.
My husband's like, you can just take the Diet Pepsi and pour it in like a coffee cup. And I was like,
Yeah.
but the lattes are good. I'm learning to really do those. We have a coffee shop in town that's a local place, and they have great ones, and it's the best atmosphere. So Bittersweet Coffee House, love them too.
That's what
I'm
it's
so
called. Bittersweet Coffee House.
Bittersweet Coffee House.
I love that name. That's cool.
So they also have a little like it's the coolest space in town. I could just go sit there and hang out all day. They have a coffee shop area.
Hmm.
That's kind of real cool and quiet. It's in a big warehouse building, and then on the other side they have clothing and just like little housey stuff. It's
Hmm.
pretty cool.
One of my favorite coffee shops in town. Just there's a lot. It's interesting because different parts of the city has different types of people that come. And this one particular one that I just absolutely love has very artsy. It's sort of in a little arts district area. And I love to go there and do all my work and stuff. And just because it's relaxing and then people are just so different than myself. And
Right.
so I love it.
Yes.
So lattes, what else?
Uh, okay. Well, I'm always loving Gilmore Girls.
Oh
So
yeah. Where
yeah.
are you in that? Are you finished?
Oh yeah, multiple
Oh,
times.
you're
Like,
kidding.
oh, we've watched every season lots and lots of times. Like it's on a season or a series record all the time on my DVR, and we were watching it
Yeah.
on Netflix yesterday. Yeah, we're like addicted.
And so is it the new one's coming out though, right? There's some
Yes,
new
yeah,
ones. When does
yeah.
that come out? Do you know?
Do not know, but I hope soon. I haven't heard a release date for it, but yeah.
Because I need to. Do you think I need to just like start in the middle and finish, or should I start at the beginning?
Have you watched any of them?
I've watched a few.
I would always start at the beginning. You just
Yeah.
kind of get the whole thing. I took a Facebook quiz this morning to see which Gilmore Girls character that I was.
What were you?
I was Lorelai, so I sent it in a group text to my daughters and
Okay.
one of their friends that we have a running group text. I was like, "Look, Facebook don't lie. I am."
That's right. Facebook don't lie. That is true. That's hilarious. So you're Lorelai. That's great.
Yeah, but we just watch it over and over and never gets old. I mean, we still laugh at everything, and we quote. We found out that my son on vacation was quoting Gilmore Girls, so
Oh, that's too
yeah.
funny.
My husband will throw out one there too every now and then. So yeah.
So I think I was scarred because I did watch one episode. I sat down and there was nothing else on TV, and that was on. And I was like, okay, let's see what the whole thing is about. And in my mind, I had so Lorelai is the daughter, or no, she's the mom. That's the
She's
mom.
right.
What's the daughter's name again?
Rory.
So in my mind, Rory, the way she looks to me is very pure, prim, proper, very sweet, classy, elegant, and she's like dating this married man. That was the episode I saw.
Yeah.
It was the morning after. It
Yeah,
was not happy. I was not a happy camper about that. I was like, okay, I'm crushed. I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. So I probably need to do what?
It was her high school sweetheart.
Okay, maybe I need to go to the very beginning.
Yeah, see how all that played out.
And see how the before.
Yeah.
I'll have to do that. Well, thanks so much, Renee, for coming on and telling us about the great work that you're doing, and blessings on your nonprofit and what you do every Thursday. I will remind myself to pray for you on Thursdays as you go through the whole day. Now I know that Thursdays are tough days, but good and fun-filled days that you are working hard on at Rebuild. So I will. Oh, and we didn't talk about you. Rebuild has an Etsy shop, sort of.
Yes.
It's called Made New.
Made New twice a month. We have on the first and the third Tuesday, we have a girl who comes in and teaches a class. Her name is Kayla Hefner, and she comes in and teaches a class to women. I don't want to call it a craft. It's not crafts. We're working on a better name for it. But they make jewelry.
Like
they
art.
make different art things, and she brings them in. They've made necklaces and earrings, stamped bracelets, stamped necklaces, candles.
Oh, wow.
So she takes the things, puts them on the Etsy shop, and then she puts them on the Etsy shop, and then you can buy them, and then the proceeds go back to Made New, to Rebuild, and to the ladies who make them.
Wow, that's neat. I will have to go on that. So just go to Etsy and you'll look up Made New, and you'll.
I think it's actually Made New Co. So MADENEWCO.
I hope you enjoyed hearing Renee's story and hearing about how she is changing her world. Rebuild has an Etsy shop, as she just mentioned, and it's called Made New Co. MADENEWCO. When you shop here, you are supporting the events that Renee mentioned in this podcast. So please go visit CorineSandiford.com for the link to the Etsy shop, as well as all the show notes that have been mentioned on this show. I want to do something special for my listeners in the month of September. So for anyone who leaves me a comment on Rising Stories podcast on iTunes, your name will be entered in a drawing for a special gift from me to you. If you've already left me a comment, then send me a private message on Instagram telling me that you want to be entered. This is so exciting because I love sending gifts in the mail. Thanks so much for listening, and keep rising in your own story.